Hello, my name is Matthew Pfeiffer with MattPfeifferCoaching.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, I create videos about toxic, narcissistically abusive relationships and also self-development. And if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you hit the like notification, the subscribe notification, and the bell notification so you're notified each and every time I upload a new video. I upload new videos on this channel 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And also, if you need more help than what this video can provide, this video and this channel are both sponsored by BetterHelp. You can connect with an online therapist a lot faster. Oftentimes, it's a lot more affordable. And because you are a part of this channel, you'll get 15% off if you go down to the links down below and click on the BetterHelp link, and you'll get 15% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp. So with all that being said, let's get into today's topic. So today we are talking about 5 signs that you are ready for a relationship. Oftentimes, we talk so much about toxic relationships and we talk about getting out of them, and we don't talk enough about getting back into healthy relationships or how to recognize healthy relationships. And this is a struggle for a lot of people, and moving their life forward after they have dealt with a toxic or a narcissistic person. And so one of the things that people talk so often about is taking the time to heal. And I think that that's very important. But also we have to understand that there's a balance, that that we're not going to be perfect. And we have to understand that. And so it's sometimes a struggle for people to realize that they might be ready, but also they might be kind of hard on themselves because they start to realize that they have some imperfections. So what's that fine line? What's that balance? How do we know that we are really actually ready for a relationship? And so one of the things that I tell people all the time when I'm working with people one-on-one, that you are ready for a relationship, is that you're not looking for someone to complete you. Now we're not looking for hyper independence. Oftentimes you'll see this on the dating scene. You'll see this all over social media where people are hyper independent, where they say, I don't need anyone, that sort of thing. And the reality of it is that no one really needs anyone, and everyone can survive without other people. However, we do have to understand that it is important for us to still have relationships with other people. And that's not just me that's saying that. That is a 2015, I believe it was 2015 Harvard study, Harvard research that said that we are better in relationships, that we are wired to connect with other people. And even though you 100% can survive without other people, the reality of it is that you will lack fulfillment and you will lack happiness without other people. And I'm not just talking about romantic at the moment. I'm talking about in general, with friends, with family members, and it's important for us to connect with other people. So we have to understand there's a big difference between independence and individuality. Oftentimes you'll hear people saying that they don't want to lose their independence, that they're happier alone. You'll hear people say that. And I'll challenge that. And it's completely okay for you to have your space and to know where your boundaries lie. But it's also important for you to understand the difference between independence and individuality. So we can be after a toxic relationship, it's very common for people to go into hyper independence, where what people are really looking for is that they don't want to lose a sense of themselves in a new relationship. And so oftentimes when we are looking for people to complete us, or we're looking to complete other people, and this is something that's very common with people who struggle with codependency, that they're looking to rescue others, or they are looking to be rescued. And oftentimes it's because we lack a lot of individuality ourselves. We don't know who we are outside the dynamics of a relationship. And so it's very important for us to have a good sense of self, a good identity in ourselves before we begin to get and integrate with other people. So sign number 2 that you are ready for a relationship. And keep in mind, once again, none of these things have to be perfect, but we do have to have a good understanding of these things. And if you're lacking in any of these areas, guess what? These are some great opportunities for you to begin to read, for you to begin to do some work, to be able to get yourself in a position that you're ready for relationships. So sign number 2 is that you understand the importance of communication. Now, for those of you who followed me for a while, you guys know where I'm going with this. I'm not just talking about orally. Oftentimes when people are talking about good, healthy communication, They want to be the one who's talking. They will oftentimes pride themselves on the fact that they speak and they dictate very, very well. But when we're talking about communication, that also means listening. And oftentimes that's where a lot of people have some major, major struggles, is that they don't want to listen. And oftentimes people are trying to listen with the intent to respond rather than the intent of understanding. And it's important for us to understand where our partner is coming from when we get into a relationship, because we have to understand that this is your partner. This is not just some random person off the street. Oftentimes you'll see all over social media, or maybe you've done this before, where you are looking to win an argument against your partner, not realizing that even if you win, guess what? You still lose, because this is your partner. This isn't just some random person off the street. And so if we put ourselves in a position where we're not listening, we're just one of my friends calls it playing double dutch, where you're just looking for an opportunity to hop in to give your side of the rebuttal or your side of the argument, you are going to lose. It's important for us to listen. And oftentimes, when I don't do couples anymore, but when I did, I would advocate for people to summarize what you just heard the other person say, to clarify what that person meant, let that person know that you understood, that you heard them, before we continue on with that disagreement or with whatever it is that we have going on. Sign number 3 is that you are not in rebound mode. One of the things that's important here is that when we get out of a toxic relationship, and understand that it's difficult sometimes whenever we're still talking to our ex because of co-parenting situations. And so sometimes your ex, you might still have fleeting thoughts of your ex and that sort of thing. I think that's very, very normal, especially if you're co-parenting. If you've gone no contact and if you don't share children, eventually you may not even think about your ex at all. I know it might be hard for people to even consider that, because you might still be stuck in a trauma bond where you're thinking about them all the time and you're having recurring thoughts of them. But when we're talking about not being in rebound mode, we want to have enough distance in the relationship. And this time period is very different for every single person. So some people, it might be a couple of weeks, couple of months. Some people, it might be a year or two. But we want to make sure that we're not in rebound mode. We have to understand that it's important for us to make sure that we're going into this relationship that we don't care what our ex thinks about this new relationship. Oftentimes when people are in rebound mode, they are looking to try to, you hear people say this all the time, upgrade their next person. And oftentimes the reason why people are doing that is because they're looking for external validation. They want other people to acknowledge that this person looks better or is smarter or more charismatic than their ex. And when we get into this situation where we're in rebound mode and we're constantly comparing, or we're looking for that validation, oftentimes it's going to lead to disaster down the road. Because eventually what happens is that even if that person is a great, healthy person, you can't help yourself but to consistently compare that new person to the old person. Well, eventually that gets old. And when you're comparing them on the good end, what happens is that you're also going to compare them on the bad end. It's inevitable. Even in a healthy relationship, guess what? There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be fights. And when there are disagreements, when there are fights, you're going to compare them to your ex again. And not only is your new partner going to get sick of it, but that comparison that you do when you're in rebound mode is unfair to the other person. And guess what? It's also unfair to you as well. And so sign number 4 that you're ready for a relationship is that you have an understanding that relationships are a responsibility. I always compare relationships to puppies, that everyone always wants that cute, cuddly little puppy until they realize that puppy takes shits, that they have to clean up a mess, that it's puking at 3:30 in the morning. And it's important for us to understand that relationships are a responsibility, that it's not just a situation where we just set it and forget it. And oftentimes this is where a lot of people make a lot of mistakes when it comes to relationships, is that they think that they can just get into a relationship and then they're done. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to do any more self-improvement. All the things that they did to get into that relationship, they just stopped doing. And it's important for us to understand that relationships are there, it requires maintenance, the same way that everything else in life does. You can go buy a house today, which would be absolutely great, but guess what? You're going to have to take care of the grass. You're going to have to make sure that the roof is taken care of. You're going to have to make sure that there's regular upkeep with the house. If you decided to get a car, everything that is worthwhile, guess what? Comes with responsibility. It's the same thing here, that there needs to be regular communication, that sometimes that means that you're going to have to compromise with your partner. Oftentimes people struggle with that. People think that as long as I'm in a relationship, as long as I'm getting external validation, as long as I have a person there, then everything's going to be perfectly fine. It's not how it works. And if we don't begin to understand that relationships not only take work, but they have regular responsibilities and regular routines that are attached to them, then long term, your relationship could potentially suffer. Sign number 5, last but not least, is that you are ready to integrate your life with somebody else. Now, when I say integrate your life with somebody else, I'm not necessarily saying that you are ready to move in or introduce your kids to other people, but at the very, very least, it's important for us to understand that we are ready to compromise with somebody. We're ready to meet in the middle with other people, that sometimes we might be at our new partner's house, or they might be at our house, or we might be ready to integrate in terms of where to go to eat and where to go to vacation, and understanding that we're not always going to have it our way, the way that we do when we're single. We're not always going to be able to dictate things. And it's important for us to understand that, and sometimes people don't really think about that. Oftentimes we have this image in our head of what a relationship is going to be like. And we imagine this person that's going to enjoy everything that we enjoy the same way that we enjoy it, the same food, the same thing. And we just kind of project what we like onto our potential partner, or the fictional partner that we have when we're thinking about getting into a relationship, not realizing that someone else has their own ideas of what that relationship is going to look like. And so when you do eventually meet someone, obviously we're going to have to blend, and we're going to have to find some form of compromise for the two lives to begin to integrate. And so that is the 5th sign that we are ready to get into a relationship, is that we are ready to integrate, we are ready to compromise, we are ready to listen. So thank you guys very much. Again, if you guys need more help beyond what this video can provide, make sure you guys connect with BetterHelp. All the links for that are down below. You can connect with a therapist a lot faster, a lot more affordable. And also, you'll get 15% off your first month when you use the links down below. If you have a question for me that you want me to answer here on YouTube, make sure you send it to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Again, that is justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. With all that being said, thank you guys very much, and I will see you in the next video. You guys have a good one.